Wow.
Divine alignment.
Divine alignment.
Okay,
2025.
Okay.
Baby. Now, I know some of you don't watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, but for those who do, this, for me, is not necessarily a shock. I knew that it was going to eventually happen. With that being said, I'm surprised that it happened as quickly as it did. I thought that it would probably take place around next season or the season after next. But no, here we are. So this is according to Reality Blurb. Bronwyn Newport has allegedly separated from her husband, Todd Bradley, and will announce it at the RHOSLC reunion as a source shares the reason for the reported split. Ooh-wee.
Have been a scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with the bush.
Before we get into this, baby, I was on YouTube. I was live. I was at BravoCon. And I was talking to the cousins. And I had a question that I wanted to ask. Last year, I was able to ask a question at BravoCon. Not last year, I just told a lie. The year before last, I was able to ask a question at BravoCon. This year, I wanted to ask a question. I didn't get to ask my question because, one, they made you stand in the line, girl, before the panel started up until they got to the questions. Girl, I'm not standing up for no 45 minutes. Girl, anyways, the last time you just had to get up there and try to get in line to get your question asked. Anyway, so one of the questions that I was going to pose to the panel at BravoCon, it was going to be, I rehearsed this with the cousins. My question was going to be for Bronwyn. However, I was going to ask Lisa, Heather, and Whitney. Heather Dubrow has come out and said that she believes that sometimes wives join the show to become financially independent, and then eventually they leave their husbands. Based off what we've seen since Bronwyn has joined the show, do you think that Bronwyn's game plan is to eventually leave Todd?
Take all these niggas' money, what we finna do, then leave. Then leave. Did I lie? Did I lie? Did I fucking lie? R.I.P. Anna! Get that bread, get that head, then leave. Then leave. Bitch, then leave.
The cousins will tell you that that was a question that I was going to ask girl Lisa, Heather, and Whitney. Because based off what I started to see, I was like, baby, Bronwyn is getting ready to leave Todd. She's painting the picture. Okay? Now let's just go ahead and get into this mess. All right? Again, this is according, if I didn't say it, I'm saying it now. This is according to not Reality Blurb. Radar Online, excuse me. At an upcoming reunion, a Real Housewife confirmed she is splitting from her husband. RadarOnline.com can reveal. While there were signs of problems and tension between the pair throughout their time on The Real Housewives, no one knew they would ultimately split until the reunion taped. The couple that called it quits is none other than Real Housewives of Salt Lake City stars Bronwyn Newport and Todd Bradley. The rumors first surfaced online. And X account, Mary Cosby fan claimed urgent SLC scoop. And I will be honest, this is the first time I actually saw this. What was it, late this morning or last night? But I did see this on Twitter. I saw this on Twitter. But, I really don't I'm not in the business of, trying to be the first one to come down to YouTube to tell the girls and boys what I heard. So I kind of just wait to see if, media outlets will report. And then once I kind of start Once it catches Gwen like a wildfire, baby, then girl, I come on downtown. I grab this microphone and I say, girl, you won't believe this shit. But yeah, I did see this on Twitter. But anyways, it says, this morning I saw on Instagram someone saying that Bronwyn announced at the reunion that her and Todd were separating. I then sent it to my source to get confirmation. The account notes that their sources have confirmed the news that Newport and Bradley were splitting. Radar spoke to a source in production who confirmed the rumor is true. Bronwyn officially announced she was separated from Todd at the reunion, the insider claimed. This shouldn't come as any surprise, though. It really shouldn't. If you've been watching the season, girl, we're going to talk about it because I got a lot I have to say. While they didn't provide any specifics, the source claimed Newport is disgusted by what she's been seeing on TV in regard to how Bradley treats her. He's coming off badly, the insider detailed. This is truly not shocking. On the currently airing 6th season of the show, a rumor popped up about Bradley allegedly making out with one of Newport's friends while farting the entire time. I was just told that my friend's very close friend made out with Todd, cast member Lisa Barlow claimed in a conversation at Bravo headquarters, and he farted, and it was a total mood killer. While this is Newport's second season on the show, during her first, she confessed to Bradley cheating on her in the past. A couple of years ago, we were on a trip, and he was texting someone on his iPad, and Gwen went to say something to him, and Gwen saw it over his shoulder, she said, referring to her daughter from a previous relationship who caught him. Newport explained her daughter flocked to tell her what she's seen, and Newport confronted her husband. The real truth is that my relationship is just as hard as everybody else's in its own ways and has its very low lows that were very hard for me, she confessed. This is a side of me that these ladies haven't seen yet, but I want them to understand that I bleed the same way that they all do. I cry about things, and that side of me is there if they're open to it. He said of the fatal flaw of his, what's good for him in business is that he's never satisfied. He's always pushing for the next deal, the best deal, the whatever. And in turn, and it's hard to turn that off. When you come home, you're always looking. It's not his fault. You're used to what you're used to. You like what you like. Newport decided to move forward with her husband after he apologized with a present. Girl, but remember when they got to the reunion? I'm not reading the article anymore. I'm going to go back to it. But anyways, remember at the reunion when Bronwyn tried to clean it up and act as though it wasn't as what she said? And to Lisa's defense, remember on the show when Bronwyn was talking, Lisa was like, I'm paraphrasing, but Lisa basically said, girl, Todd gonna be real pissed off when he see this shit. Anyways, oh, here we go. They just mentioned it. Sorry, girl. Later, Newport backpedaled on the claims, claiming it was not a physical affair, but an emotional one. Girl, listen.
Boom.
I am not shocked. Let me just start off by saying this. I really do, when I watch these housewife shows, I try to give the men some grace. Now, it's one thing if you are like Peter, Peter, pumpkin eater. If you're like Peter, Cynthia Bailey's ex-husband, if you're like Joe Gorga, right? You know, the boys who love to see a camera coming, the boys who love to be in the middle of the mess, that's one thing. But then when you have like the Charles Oakley, who appears as though they probably just didn't want to do the show, but they did it to, support their wives. When you're like Todd, when you're like Kay, even Kay's boyfriend, Greg, I try to put myself in their shoes and I'm like, okay, girl, because I know I wouldn't want to do reality TV, at least not now. But I'm like, okay, if that was me, you're trying to be supportive, right? And then here come these people with these cameras in your face, And then sometimes, I don't know if y'all know this, but I have been told that sometimes on reality TV, these conversations that they've had, even if it was a conversation they had like a year ago, they have to kind of regurgitate the same thing or pretend as though it's their first time having the conversation for the show. So then it can come across as like, girl, why are we talking about this again? We already talked about this. So I get it. But then on the flip side, it's like, nigga, no one is forcing you to be on TV. And so like with Todd, I tried to give Todd a pass. I really did. Like Todd is an older man. He's more than likely set in his ways. And I'm trying to support my wife. And now we have to talk about our sex life. And then we have to talk about, your daughter, my stepdaughter's, father side of the family. Now I have to listen to you bitch and complain about these women who I don't like, aka Lisa Barlow. But at some point, girl, you're going to have to just put your big boy drawers on and try to fake it till you make it, girl. And it's okay to either just say, I'm not going to give nothing when these cameras come around, or if I'm going to participate, at least let me try and be a tad bit more positive than what I would normally be, even though I don't want to be in this fucking situation. And I felt like with Todd, it started to get to a point where it's like, this motherfucker is rude and he's disrespectful. And even though this may be trivial to some of you, this season on the show, Bronwyn was talking about how she hates whenever she gets ice cream, she always gets a cherry. And Todd always eats her cherry. And they go out to eat ice cream, and she gets the ice cream sundae, and she gets a cherry. And she was basically telling Todd, like, yeah, you know how it always upsets me when you, like, eat my cherry. Come on, eat my cherry. I love a cherry, out a cherry, out a cherry, out. I want you to. Shout out to Beyonce. Blow a cherry out, blow a cherry out. I can't remember the words. Anyways, Todd literally reached over after hearing Bronwyn say how she felt about when Todd eats her cherry, and girl ate that lady's cherry. Girl, I would have but when I tell you the way I would have reached over and smushed him in his motherfucking throat, like not really. But I was like, oh my God, that pissed me off. I was like, that's like the ultimate disrespect. It kind of shaped how he looks at her, because if you hear her saying that, I hate when you do this, and right here in front of a big ass camera, you reach over and eat her cherry, you have no regard for how she feels, right? Now, this is the thing, right? Can we talk? Can we talk about it? Can we just put the shit on the table? Bronwyn, this is how I look at it. Now, I'm not saying this is the truth, but this is my truth, okay? I felt like Bronwyn knows her husband, and Bronwyn knew what she was signing up for. Bronwyn was a teenage mama. She probably was doing what she had to do to make ends meet. She met this old ass man who had access to the money, so she got with him so she could have access to the money. That doesn't mean that you get to mistreat me and disrespect me, right? But at some point, it's like, girl, I guess I'm going to have to just deal with this shit until I can put myself in a better position. It's not to excuse Todd in his shitty ass ways. But again, it's kind of like, girl, that's what comes with the territory. You getting with this old ass man. You get the money, he gets his trophy wife. Anytime, this is just how I think, anytime I see a woman who, and I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but anytime I see a woman, an attractive young woman with an older, much older man, and he may not be that attractive, I automatically assume, girl, she got access to the money. Girl. She got with that motherfucker because, girl, he got a little bit of shang-a-lang-a-lang. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. And I felt like that's what Bronwyn had to do. And her mother, low-key, in a way, co-signed it this season. Remember when she basically said you wouldn't be in the position that you were in if it wasn't for Todd? I said, ooh, girl. Now, it's one thing for me to get on here and say some shit like that because, girl, Bronwyn ain't my sister. I don't know that lady. But it's another thing for your mama to basically confirm what some of us have been thinking. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that Bronwyn and Todd have allegedly separated. Todd comes across as someone who is mean. He really does. Like I said, not even tried to give the nigga a pass at first. I really did. And at some point, girl, I gotta open up my eyes. Girl, no, the nigga is mean. That, like, you're mean, you're disrespectful, like you're always grumpy. The only time I even probably saw you smile was when you took Bronwyn's cherry off a fucking ice cream sundae. He had this little grin across his face. Now, don't get it twisted. Now, Bronwyn's sister, you my girl, but we got to tug on your wig too. I knew that Bronwyn was getting ready to leave this man.
She gone.
Now, Bronwyn's sister, I have to say, some of the shit that you've been doing and the way that you've been moving, it has really been giving, girl, you're planning your exit. Girl, from what I understand, they don't have a prenup, okay? Girl, kudos to Bronwyn. I felt like sometimes Bronwyn would do things because she knows her husband and she knows the way that he will react, if that makes sense. Let me say something that will piss him off, and then he will look like an asshole, and people will really see him for how he really is. Even towards the end, not the end of this season because the season is not over, but even a few episodes ago, I think it was last week, matter of fact, remember her mother made a comment? Now, mind you, Muzzy doesn't seem like she, girl, I don't want to talk about Muzzy. But Muzzy made a comment, that's her nickname. Muzzy made a comment, Muzzy is moving out of the house because she stays with Bronwyn, and her daughter is moving out too. And Bronwyn made a joke like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said something along the lines of, if I need to put Todd out, just let me know. And then her mother said something like, not if he leaves you first. And then Bronwyn replied like, don't threaten me with a good time. Something like that. Girl. But anyway, so Bronwyn has done things and said things. And I remember the last episode I said, I feel like sometimes Bronwyn says things to Todd because he knows, like she'll bring up the ladies and she knows that Todd does not like these bitches at all. Okay? And he can't stand Lisa Barlow. But I always felt like sometimes Bronwyn would bring up Lisa Barlow or bring up the ladies because she knows that Todd is probably going to spaz out and it'll make Todd just look even more worse than what he's probably already displayed on camera. And then even with the cheating stuff, right? Like, she's making sure to basically dot her I's and cross her T's. Mama had a plan. I didn't see it right when she got on the camera, like right at the beginning of last year. But, baby, once I started to realize what was going on, I was like, baby, Bronwyn about to leave that man. She got to. And to me, I will say, Bronwyn is, in my opinion, Bronwyn is solidified on the show. Bronwyn is not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think she is. Now, you never know because girl, if they can get rid of Vicky and Nene and girl Kenya, she ain't that no more. So if they can get rid of the OG of the OG of the OGs, which is Vicky, they'll damn sure get rid of anybody. But I don't think that Bronwyn is really going anywhere anytime soon. I think she'll be okay for at least a few more, probably even more than a few more seasons. But yeah, I'm not shocked, and if you watch my reviews, you've pretty much heard me say, girl, Bronwyn's about to leave Todd. Girl, Bronwyn is about to leave Todd. She is about to get ghost, baby. She's painting the picture. Bronwyn is gone. Bronwyn is gone. Baby, Bronwyn about to leave Todd. Look what she doing. Bronwyn about to leave Todd. And the fact of the matter is, I know it's sad because it's a marriage that's ending, but Bronwyn's daughter is grown. So now, hello? And then the way that Bronwyn talks, I tried to tell y'all, is somebody gonna tell somebody, girl, we think how we want to think. But I tried to tell the people the way that Bronwyn talks, like, oh my God, my mother is moving out, my daughter is going to college, I'm gonna be alone. Girl, how are you gonna be alone if you have a husband? Girl, I tried to tell y'all. For some people, not all, sometimes people are excited when their kids are leaving, especially if you're married, because now you and your husband can walk around the house naked. Y'all can have sex on the kitchen counter. It's a sad moment because, oh my God, my child is going off into the world and, I'm worried about my child and I hope she's okay or he's okay. But there's also the other side of you being excited because now you get, you and your husband can live your lives. And Bronwyn is like, oh my God, I'm going to be alone. You going to be alone, girl? You got a whole husband. How are you going to be alone? Oh, I know why you're thinking you're going to be alone. Because Todd is really not there. And you're not really connected to Todd. Todd comes home on the weekend and girl, you don't want to see him. You stay with Todd because of the kids. You see, when people stay in fucked up marriages because of the children, when the children leave, you realize, girl, what the fuck am I doing here? Girl, it's a mess. God know my neighbor ain't over here fucking. Girl, I have a neighbor. When I tell you, I'm low key jealous. He or she or they, I don't know what they are, how they identify. Girl, when I tell you they had one of the most healthiest sex lives I have ever heard in my life. Girl, they was fucking I remember one time I woke up at 7-something in the morning, baby, and they was fucking. Like literally, it'd be like back to back. They'll take a break, and they'll probably start like an hour later. I said, baby, either she is in a new relationship or she's just a hoe, or they just a hoe and they just got a revolving door. Okay, either way, if it's consensual, I guess it don't matter, child. Okay, baby, let the door revolve, baby, let it revolve. Anyways, but yeah, shout out to Bronwyn. Are y'all surprised that Bronwyn and Todd are getting a divorce? Not getting a divorce, but they're separated allegedly, and more than likely heading to a divorce. Girl, we don't know. Sometimes people separate, and they say, "What? How do you say it? Being apart makes the heart grow fonder," or something like that. So maybe they might get back together. Excuse me, but I don't think that's the game plan. I think that Bronwyn had a plan coming into this. I think that once Bronwyn realized that she was okay on the show, and I think she realized that Todd looks like a fucking asshole, and my daughter is grown, and, it's no shade. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but, her father passed away. My father passed away, so I no longer have to pay for a caretaker or pay for his bills. My daughter is pretty much grown as far as legal. She's legally grown. My mother, she's okay. Girl, I'm out of here. Got in later with this old ass man, dealt with his fucked up attitude, being mean and disrespectful. Bitch, I done found my spot on this show. Girl, I'm about to start a few businesses. Bitch, I'm out of this hoe. I really feel like that's how Bronwyn looked at it. And I don't even blame her because Todd is mean. Girl, like I said, I tried to give Todd a pass, but Todd is mean. That's a mean ass man. Mean and grumpy. Ugh. And like my thing is like, it's one thing for you to be mean and grumpy, but baby, it's one like you act like you look like Brad Pitt, Todd. You mean and grumpy, and I gotta turn around and suck your dick too. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta turn around and girl open my legs and let you put your penis in my vagina. And I gotta let you eat my cherry. Like that's a lot. And you not fine? Baby, please, I'm gone. Bitch, fuck what you heard. I know what I know. Okay? Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think. Shout out to Bronwyn. I'm team Bronwyn on this one. I really am. You know, if Bronwyn was with that man for a year or two, I'd be like, girl, Bronwyn, you was with that man for a year or two. Sit your ass down. But being that she was with him for as long as she was, and he does come across as someone who would be hard to deal with. But I think that's the price you have to pay sometimes when you enter into a relationship and I believe, this is just me, I believe the person who has the money has the power. That's why you should never let anybody, girl, have the power. Girl, have your own money. Hopefully this works out for Bronwyn. Like I said, I think it will, especially if they don't have a prenup. But even if they don't, I think that Bronwyn will be okay. She's found her spot on the show, and I think she'll be good to go. She'll just probably go get her a nice little condo in Salt Lake City somewhere. Bronwyn is gone, and she'll sit her ass down and be still. All right, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm gone. Good night.